I am Eva Recacha and I am a choreographer.
My name is Lauren Potter and I'm a freelance dance artist. My dance practice is much to do with performance, performativity. I really enjoy sort of unpicking what it is to be seen. I love the mantra of Deborah Hay. She says, inviting being seen. And there's something about that that sort of rocked my world. It really is a very simple mantra, but it really sort of changes the position of power as a performer, I feel. So when I'm inviting, I feel I have real power. When I feel I'm being watched, I feel diminished. So just that, I feel, is really quite exciting to play with. And I also really enjoy sort of ideas of visibility, invisibility, and as I've got older, I sort of recognize subtlety, nuance, all the things that can come into play as you're inviting being seen. And I just enjoy different situations where you can play with different hats and costumes, not real costumes, theoretical costumes, in terms of your relation to audience and what your relationship is.
I'm interested in capturing physicality and presenting and exploring physical language through movement. I'm also, in my practice, I work with movement sitting next to sound and also text. And a lot of what I do is exploring the potential relationships between the different media and the hierarchies that get established. So I'm trying to find how to be rebellious with the movement. Can the movement also challenge what you're saying? Can it color it? Can it subvert its meaning? So it's all about interpretation and how different elements, place themselves next to another and start to vibrate. I guess it's about working on enhancing attention, and in that sense working with Lauren was a very beautiful journey because she does invite you. So it was a real opportunity for me to make space for what the performer has to offer and bring and really take it in. I think for me the choreographic practice has a lot to do with, I guess, observing, and not a passive observance. It's a very active observance where you're trying to really grasp what you have in front of you and see it in a light that's not the light of I already knew, but the light of I just found out.
I think I get excited by particular ways of framing, how people frame things and how they present things, and particularly when they're working with ideas, slightly surreal ideas, or examining structures and deconstructing those structures, particularly maybe in relation to the world in which we inhabit, the performance world and the dance world and the world of creativity and the hierarchies that go hand in hand with that, and sort of dismantling them in quite a sort of humorful way. So when people can use humour in a really clever way, I'm really in awe of that. And I really feel they understand something in relation to me, and that ticks my box. Not to say that has to be all about me, but it's something about recognition as an audience member I really enjoy. And I guess recently I've really enjoyed going to see specific individuals improvising with no structures. So there's something about having nothing and just really being in the moment and being able to respond, activate, see things, use things, and just keep it alive and take me on a journey with them and have humour in there and have dark moments and sort of take you on a sort of, woo, you're down here, then you're up there, then you're down there again. There's something about that interplay with what's really present that we all understand. We're all in the room, we all understand it, but someone's just really clarifying it and talking about the elephants in the room. So that's what rocks my boat.
I think what I'm excited about at the moment, there's a huge emphasis in diversity and inclusivity that's really feeding, producing and making, and I think this is a great opportunity for us as makers to consider what are the new angles in which I can understand my medium and the ways in which my medium speaks or engages or can interact with other people. I have been interested for a while in people who make work that's not so visual centric, so people that use proximity and nearness and touch. Dance can happen in many different ways, and the fact that you start to understand how to create access to work is basically a way of realizing all these other ways in which dance can function. I think that's really exciting.
I guess as a freelancer, performer, you're constantly dealing and juggling with financial restrictions and how to put food on the table, how to make a living. And for me, that became really paramount when I had children. So something like, shit, how do I make a living that has constancy? And there isn't anything available really apart from become part of an institution. And I appreciate that because actually being in an institution, coming into contact with students really opened my world in terms of the students and what they bring to the table and what they present. It's always like mind-blowing quite often, and I feel really like I learned so much from just being in the studio with students, seeing how they think, how they frame things, how they work, how they create. Anyway, that's sort of going off course, but yeah, being part of an institution felt like a big shift in my life as a freelancer. And then I guess being pregnant, also that was before I became part working in a school, becoming pregnant as a freelancer, I realised that I wasn't going to make enough money to exist. And I got into the world of Foley, which is very strange. I mean, it happened because a friend was putting a soundtrack to a dance film they'd made, and the editor said, "Oh, you guys are really good at syncopation." Well, yeah, I hope so. So that's how I got into that world, and it's very lucrative. You earn loads of money, and you do have the skills that you need. You watch something, you have to be on it, but it's also very pressured. So that world is a very different world in terms of time allowance. You have to get it right first time, you have to be on it, you have to watch something, you have to know what you're doing, and you have to produce. Which, as you said, actually, is what's beginning to happen anyway in the dance world, is that your time restrictions are getting more and more small. You're getting smaller and smaller in the amount of time that you have to create and explore in the creative process, in the making process. But for me, that was quite an eye-opener in terms of the world of film production is very different. Time is money and you've got to get it right. And so I suddenly felt like my world was sort of a bit topsy-turvy. But I had to work out how to behave differently, I suppose, to make money. Yeah.
I think for me, moments where I definitely felt that my life took a very sort of tangential career path. I mean, the first example is when I started dancing. I was already 18. I was quite old for dance. And I was just looking at, my prospects in academia, what university I was going to go to or what I was going to study, and having discussions with my family. I told my parents I was considering not only what I wanted to do and what I liked, but also what I might be good at, where my best opportunities might lie. And I remember my father said, well, whatever you end up doing, you think that you're going to do it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's 40 hours, and then imagine, that's you're going to spend most of your life at work. So really think about what you want to do, because what you want to do, what makes you happy, you'll keep the motivation for doing that. And that's 90% of getting the job done. And I went away and I thought, what is it that I really, really, really would like to do with my life? And 2 days later, I told my parents I want to become a dancer. And they supported me, and it was a real shift. It was very hard, but I think that I felt very empowered by this idea that it is me really thinking about what might make me happy, and really me giving myself a really good chance at doing something I really want to do. A few years later, I was in ballet and I got a really bad injury and I couldn't keep on dancing. It was kind of clear. It took me a year to recognize this is not working. And then I thought, okay, so 5 years ago, I didn't think I had, the body of a dancer, but I went, and now, I definitely don't have a dancer's body because it's not working. And then I thought, well, but dance has become my life. So what I did was I applied to come here to London Contemporary Dance School, and I thought I need to go to a place where they teach me how to make dance, not how to dance, but how to choreograph, so that I can create the dances that my body can dance. And I think that empowerment came from the first empowerment. It is about you and what you want to do, and dance is not something that's outside of you. Dance is what you make of it. And if you have that, that strength of mind, then you'll find a way. I also remember after graduating, one day I was back home, I was feeling very, very down, no job, no prospects of any job coming, like really down, thinking, what am I doing with my life? And I spoke on the phone with a friend I had studied with in school. She was in Sweden, and she said, Eva, just make a dance for yourself. And I hung up the phone and I put some music on and I just danced for myself. And I thought, I do have something that makes me happy and makes me want to go on. And I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month, but I'm just going to hold on to this. And I've been holding on to this for 25 years now. I can dance at least for myself. I think the best advice I can give is to try and keep the flame of love alive in any way you can. And I think practicing loving your work, loving your dancing, loving yourself, and loving the people that you're with when you're dancing, when you're home, your family, your friends, but also realizing that these three loves, the love for dance, the love for yourself, the love for the people that you're around with, sometimes they will come into friction. It will be difficult to be at home when you have to be touring, or it will be difficult to let go of an opportunity because you just had a baby, and it is going to be challenging. And all of those loves are gonna help you hold onto yourself and keep going.
I would ditto all of that. But also, I feel like on reflection, what's always worked for me is being in a room, being in a space with people that I really value and have a good time with. I mean, it's not always possible. You can't always do that. And quite often you experience something and it's only on reflection that you think, I'm never going to go there again. When I reflect back now and look at all the processes I've been involved in, the ones that really mattered to me, the ones where I really valued the people I was in the space with. And not necessarily that you have to be best mates with them, but that you really feel like maybe they challenge you in a certain way, or maybe they draw something unknown out of you, or that you can have a friction with them that actually sparks into something unknown that you haven't experienced before, and that can be really brilliant. But also at the end of the day, that there's people that you want to go to the pub with and have a drink with at the end of the day. That feels really important, rather than just get me out of here and let me get away from this space. And I've experienced both, and it feels very privileged to say only go in those areas where you value people, but I think you learn over time what works for you and what doesn't work for you in terms of the people you work with. And I feel like it's the people that make it what it is, and they're the ingredients that really matter. And it's about being recognised and valued as human beings in a space together. And that sounds a bit sort of naff, but I feel like it's quite true for me. That's what I got the most out of, is being with people that I really enjoy and value, spending time with.
Yeah. I think that reminds me of there's this saying in Spain, where I come from, that you find your half orange, means that you found your partner for life. And I remember when I was young and trying different options, thinking, right, I'm totally heartbroken, like I'm heartbroken to the absolute core. But you know what, if this person doesn't want to be with me, it's just not my half orange. I just need to think about that. If this is not, this might be a really cool company, or this might be a really amazing choreographer, that if you're not having a good time, if you don't feel that that it's okay, it's not for you, and it's not diminishing their value, but it's also not diminishing yours. You're no lesser because you don't function well here and there, and to feel that there is something always that you can do to function in some, you can create your own context. I think that was the beauty about contemporary dance training. You learn, you practice dancing, but you practice making, you practice lots of different creative strategies to generate something where you have some power.
You also learn vulnerability. You learn how to be with other people in the space. And I think sometimes that's more important than being a great dancer. Actually, how you interact with people, how you absorb information, how you respond to people, that's more important, I think, quite often. Yeah,
that is true.